it's Jenna and today I'm here doing my movie and TV show wrap up for December of 2017. I watched like 19 movies or something ridiculous in December and then like 3 TV shows, but in my defense, it was Christmas and a lot of these are Christmas movies, so that is the only defense that I have. And also I had finished all my uni work, I'd finished Nano, so it was literally just me, my computer, and some Christmas things, and like I worked. So that's the thing, I worked and I got home and I was like, I'm gonna watch a Christmas movie. So because of that, I have 12 Christmas movies to talk about, so I'm not going to talk too much about them. I'm literally just going to be like, I watched this movie, I gave it this rating for this reason, and then I've got some other movies that I'm going to go a little bit more in depth into. So we're going to start with the TV shows though, just like we always do. So the first TV show that I finished in December was Riverdale Season 2A. I only gave this part of the season 3 out of 5 stars because I have to say I've not been totally enamored with Riverdale this season. I think that CW made a mistake in rushing production on the second season. I honestly think that we shouldn't have had seasons 1 and 2 like we did, especially because season 2 is going to have so many more episodes, and I think season 1 worked really well just because it was a short 13 episode thing. So not particularly enamored with season 2 so far. I'm not really a fan of where the character development is going. I'm not a fan of the plot, so I'm still watching it, but I'm not as big of a fan of this season as I was of the first season. The second TV show that I watched this month was Fuller House Season 3B. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars because it was so good. We started the season, well, it was kind of the mid-season, so we started the mid-season off in Japan with the wedding, and from there everything just was so amazing. I cried, I laughed, I loved everything about it, and I really I have my fingers crossed that they're coming back for a 4th season because, oh man, I need to know what happens next with this family. I'm like totally in love with them and I just need to know what's gonna happen next. The last TV show that I watched this month was the Doctor Who Christmas special, so Doctor Who Twice Upon a Time, I believe it's called. And I only gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. I have to say, I wasn't super impressed with Capaldi's last stint as the Doctor. I think that I think that Stephen Moffat, it was also his last stint as writer, and I think he could have done something so much better. Was not a big fan of the episode. For me, it felt like just this massive trailer towards the 13th Doctor, who I have to say, still not a fan of. We saw like the tiniest glimpse of her, and my favourite part was when the TARDIS was like, you're a girl now, I'm gonna throw you out. And it was amazing. I loved it. Even the TARDIS doesn't want her. So I'm pretty much not happy with the Christmas special. I'm not really happy with the 13th Doctor. I'm not really happy with Doctor Who in general at the moment. So it's gonna be an interesting one to watch out for in 2018. So that was all of the TV shows that I watched. Now I'm going to jump straight into the movies that I watched in December of 2017. So the first Christmas movie that I watched this month was a rewatch. That was Arthur Christmas, and I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I think Arthur Christmas is one of the cutest little Christmas movies. I love everything about it. I love the concept, I love the plot, I love the characters. I think Arthur is just the cutest little Christmas tree, and I just absolutely thoroughly loved this movie. The second movie I watched this month was also a rewatch, and that was the Santa Claus, and I gave that one a 4 out of 5 stars. The Santa Claus is just one of those movies that you just have to watch every year. I think that it is just a really lovely film. It really captures the spirit of Christmas, and I just love it to pieces, so I'm really glad that I rewatched it again this year. The third movie that I watched this year was another rewatch, and that was Pete's Christmas, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars to. I think Pete's Christmas is one of these cheesy Hallmark films, so you know, it has this really basic premise, basic characters, basic plot, but the execution of this one was actually really good, and I found myself still tearing up even though I've seen it a million times before. So I love this movie, and I'll probably end up watching it again next year just because it's Pete's Christmas, and you cannot have a Christmas without watching Pete's Christmas. You just can't. Fourth movie that I watched this month was another rewatch, and that was Santa Claus 2, and I gave that one a 4 out of 5 stars. So Santa Claus 2 for me is not the best Santa Claus. I do think I still prefer the first Santa Claus, but I do really love the second Santa Claus movie. It is just one of those really fun films that expands on the world that we've already got. It introduces new characters, introduces a new plot, and it's just one of those things that I really, really enjoy watching. So lame though with some of the things that happen, but it's a Christmas movie and that's what you've come to expect. So the fifth movie that I watched this month was another rewatch, and that was A Princess for Christmas, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars to. Oh my god, Princess for Christmas is so cringy! I had forgotten because I didn't watch it in 2016, so I watched it last year again for like the first time in a while, and oh my goodness! It's so cringy. Like, you know how most Christmas movies, like, they've got like a little bit of cringe, but for the most part they're really good? This one was just cringe central, and I watched it and I was Snapchatting Emily. I'm like, Emily, I don't know if I can keep watching this movie. I mean, the cringe and the acting and literally everything about it was just so bad. Then I finished it and I was like, I really enjoyed that. So that's basically how Christmas movies go in a nutshell. You hate it while you're watching it because it's so cringy, and then it finishes and you're like, oh, I actually really liked that. The sixth movie that I watched this month was also another rewatch, and that was Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause, and I only gave this one a 2 out of 5 stars. This is one of those cases where they've taken a good thing and they've tried to stretch it too far. I was really not a fan of Santa Claus 3 at all. I think it's got a really dumb premise. The characters make really dumb decisions, so not a fan of the third film in that series. The seventh movie that I watched this month was another rewatch, and that was Christmas with the Kranks, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars to. Christmas with the Kranks is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. I think it is so funny. All the things with Frosty and like having the whole neighborhood just be like, why aren't you celebrating Christmas? I love that. I love the premise. The characters are really funny. The jokes are amazing, and I love this movie. The eighth movie that I watched this month was not a rewatch. This is one that I watched for the first time ever, and that was Deck the Halls, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars to. I was just kind of trolling through Netflix like, oh, what Christmas movies can I watch? And I found this one, had no idea what it was about, and I went, you know what? Okay, let's do it. And I watched it, and it was really funny. I really enjoyed it. I think that it had a good premise. It was great for a Christmas movie, had all the ups and downs that it needed, and it was just one that I could really enjoy watching. The ninth movie that I watched this month was Jingle All the Way, and I gave that one a 3 out of 5 stars. So again, I watched this one just because I was trolling through Netflix because I needed another Christmas movie to watch, and I have to say I wasn't like the biggest fan of Jingle All the Way. I think that it took the Christmas movie tradition where it like has a bit of leeway to be lame. I think it took that a little bit too far. So I wasn't a huge fan of the premise, wasn't a huge fan of the characters, and the plot was kind of fell flat for me. So not my favorite Christmas movie. The 10th movie that I watched this month was A Wish for Christmas, and I also gave that one a 3 out of 5 stars. This is another one of those cheesy Hallmark movies that you just put on because it's cute. The romance is so predictable, but you just learn to love it, and the characters are pretty two-dimensional, but you learn to love them anyway, and the plot is so simple even a child could follow. In fact, I'm pretty sure a child wrote this movie, but it's just one of those films that is just so cute that I just ended up loving it, and I am actually really glad that I watched it. The 11th movie that I watched this month was Christmas Inheritance, and I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. This is one of those Christmas movies that actually really surprised me, so I was expecting it to have like this really lame premise, this really lame plot and lame characters, but I was actually really surprised by the depth that each of these characters had, considering it was just one of these cheesy Christmas movies. So for me, the characters had a lot of depth, the plot was a lot of fun, and I'm really glad that I watched it. I really thoroughly enjoyed this movie. The 12th film that I watched this month was Age A Mammoth Christmas, and I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. I am the biggest fan of the Ice Age series. I love it to pieces, and it was kind of a crime that I'd never seen the Christmas special before, so I finally got my hands on it. I watched it. So lame, but so much fun because I love the characters so much in this series that I just couldn't help but love their Christmas one as well, and then they were singing and I was like, oh, it's like Ice Age! So I loved it because I love the Ice Age series, but it wasn't like the best Christmas special that I've ever seen. And that's all the Christmas movies! So I have one other Christmas movie, but I watched that one on Christmas Eve with my family, and there's a huge debate about whether it is a Christmas movie or not, so we're just gonna move straight ahead. The 13th movie that I watched this month was Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars, and I loved it so much. I really did. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I loved the characters. I loved most of the plot. There was just one part of the plot that I really didn't like because it was so unnecessary. For the most part though, the characters, everything about that movie, just my heart. I need a porg in my life, and I love it so much. I actually did a full movie review of this one, which if it's out already, I will leave it in the description box below. I'm not sure when it's going up, but either way, keep your eyes out for that movie review because I go into much more detail about what parts that I loved, what parts that I didn't, and why you should definitely watch it. 14th movie that I watched this month was Die Hard, and this one obviously was a rewatch, and I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. This movie is the movie that I watch every Christmas Eve with my family, and I love it so much. It's not Christmas until you see Die Hard. A lot of people, there's a huge debate about whether or not it's a Christmas movie. I have to say yes, it's a Christmas movie. It has Christmas elements. It's got things that are Christmassy. It's not the most traditional like cheesy Christmas film. It's a Christmas film that you actually want to watch with your family. The 15th movie that I watched this month was another rewatch, and that was Jumanji. Jumanji, and I gave Jumanji a 4 out of 5 stars. I had never noticed before watching it this time that it takes forever before they actually properly start like playing the game with Alan and Sarah and Judy and Peter, and then once they do start playing, it only takes like 40 minutes and they're done. Didn't actually realize that before, but the movie is just so special. It has a really unique premise with these really likable characters, and you want them to succeed, you want them to defeat this game, and I loved rewatching it. It was just one of my childhood movies, and I just couldn't help but love it. The 16th movie that I watched this month was The Greatest Showman, and I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. I am obsessed with The Greatest Showman, okay? I've been listening to the soundtrack non-stop since I saw this movie. It was so good. The characters were so likable and so three-dimensional. Each one of them had like these fears and insecurities, and you really got to see each and every one. The plot was really simple. I know that it's based on historical events, but I also know that a lot of people have said the film is not totally historically accurate, and honestly I don't care because it was so good. I loved what we saw. The stakes were so high and the songs were so good. The music and the choreography, everything about this movie was just amazing, and I'm trying to convince my mum to come see it with me tomorrow night because I need to see it again because it was so good. The 17th movie that I watched this month was another rewatch. That was The Princess Diaries, and I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I haven't watched this movie in the longest time, and honestly I loved it. I think it's one of those early 2000 films that all have kind of the same plot, but it was just so much fun. The characters are surprisingly really all likable, which I wasn't expecting, but I loved it. It was funny, humorous, which are both kind of meaning the same thing. It had heart, it had everything that you possibly could have wanted, and I really enjoyed the film, so yay. The 18th movie that I watched this month was Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars to, which I have to say was not expecting to do. Like, I went into the movie, the whole purpose of me going to see this film, I went with my friend. We like going to see bad movies together because we like just being able to laugh, and we laughed, but not because it was a bad movie, because it was a really comedic film that did really well. I was really worried when they first like announced it, you know, and we learned who the cast was, and we kind of were like, what is happening? And then the trailers came out and it's like, oh, we've actually been sucked into this video game, and I went, okay, yep, no, I can see that happening, sure. It was really good. Like, the characters were so likable. I thought all the adult actors, because obviously they're playing these teenagers, they did amazing. The comedy, like the jokes were really, really well timed. These actors, they really played off each other. The plot basically read like a video game. I felt like I was playing a video game while I was watching it, and I really, really loved it. And it had a few callbacks to the original film, which I loved as well, and I can't get over how shocked I was by how good this movie was and how much I actually really enjoyed it. I don't know how to feel about this. And the last movie that I watched this month was another rewatch, and that was The Devil Wears Prada, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars to. So I watched this one on the houseboat with my family, and honestly wasn't a big fan. It's one of those early 2000 films which is just so like, yeah, okay, you know, it's kind of lame. You know what, now that I think about it, it's like 2006. It's not early 2000s, but it feels like a million years ago. The plot fell a little bit flat for me. The characters, a lot of them were really unlikable, and the only plotline that I actually cared about is the plotline that they really shoved to the side. So not a big fan of that movie. It was still enjoyable, and I'm glad that I watched it. It did pass the time, but not a big fan. So there you go. Those are the 3 TV shows that I watched, and actually the 19 movies that I watched in December. I don't know if I said 19 at the beginning or what number I said, but 19 films. Holy moly, that is a lot of movies. I have to say that January, I was gonna say that January wouldn't be as big, but it's only what, the 7th of January? No, the 8th of January when I'm filming this, and I've already watched like 6 Harry Potter movies, so next month's gonna be just as fun. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what movies you watched in December. I would absolutely love to know. If you like this video, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Stay random. Bye.